Hi everybody, my name is Martin Carter, and as part of the Finding Your Future campaign, I'm partnering with the DFN Foundation and NSEF to tell you a little bit more about myself and hopefully give you some advice and some tips that will help you on your pathway to employment. So I'm starting this video in my garden, and there's a reason for that. I've had lots of jobs. I've been a bingo caller, I've been a youth worker, I've been a football coach, I've been a barman, I've been a shop worker, but one thing I've never been is a gardener. And you can probably tell that by looking at my garden behind me. In all the years we've lived here, what I've managed to do is just help everything survive. But nothing in my garden has really thrived. And the reason is, I just haven't really invested the time and the energy and the effort that I'd need to invest to take the garden from surviving to thriving. Now, what's that got to do with employment? Well, my job now is as a leadership coach. And what that means is I get to work with people of all ages to think about how can they be their best more of the time? How can they give themselves the best chance in life? And how can they live their best life? And when I think about how I help people do that, most of the time what I'm doing is helping them think how they move from surviving, doing the bare minimum, to thriving, to really consciously invest in the time and the effort in the habits and the thoughts and the behaviours that help you be at your best more of the time. So what we need to thrive in life is exactly the same as what we need to thrive in the garden. So what does my garden need to thrive? Well, the first thing it needs is water. The second thing it needs is some feed, some food for the plants. And the third thing I need to do to the plants is prune them. And it's the same when we think about ourselves. When we think about how can we thrive in life, we need to always be asking ourselves, am I getting enough water? Now, of course, that means drinking enough, but it also means, am I doing the stuff that keeps me alive, that keeps me excited, that keeps me motivated? So am I doing something every day that I love, that I really enjoy doing? And am I investing some of my time and energy in that? And then what we need to do is feed. So how do we feed ourselves? Well, of course, that's about the food we eat, but also it's about the other things we let into our body. So the thoughts and the things we read and the things we watch, the things we believe. So are we feeding our body with healthy relationships, healthy food, healthy thoughts? And the third thing is pruning. So what does that mean in terms of life? Well, it's about cutting out the things that aren't helpful anymore. Cutting out the things which I might need to make a bit smaller in my life, because at the moment they're taking up too much of my life and actually they're not helpful either towards my pathway to employment or helping me be the best that I can be. So what I want us to think about in the rest of this video is how can you go from surviving and doing the bare minimum maybe, or just enough to get from one day to the next, to thriving? What's in your control to help you thrive and grow and to feel well and energized and hopeful and inspired about the future and your employment prospects? So I'm going to go back inside now because the garden's getting noisy and it might rain soon, and then I'll pick up this message again. I'll see you in a second. So welcome inside. Hopefully it's a little bit quieter in here. This is my office, this is where I work from, and what I want to do for the rest of this video is give you some questions to think about that hopefully will help you be at your best more of the time over the next few weeks and months as you move towards your employment, on this pathway to employment. So first thing I want you to think about is, are you looking after your body? Okay, and this is our physical energy. Okay, so what we know is that for our bodies to be well, it needs to have routine. So are you getting up at a regular time and a sensible time? Are you going to bed at a regular time and a sensible time? Are you eating properly? So are you feeding your body? Are you drinking enough water and being hydrated? And are you getting enough exercise? So are you getting out for a walk? And are you just making the most of whatever you can do just to stay active? Because we need to first look after our bodies if we're going to be at our best. So are you looking after your physical energy, your physical well-being? Second thing I want you to think about is your mind. Are you feeding your mind? This is our intellectual energy. So it's easy to sit there when we're at home and we can put stuff into our mind that isn't very good for us. So just as we can put junk food into our body, if we're not careful, we can end up just feeding our brain junk food. And that might be just because we're just scrolling through the internet or flicking through our social media feed, or we're spending a lot of time online playing games or browsing the internet. Now, all those things are okay, but if we do too much of it, just as if we eat too much junk food, it becomes really unhealthy for us. It becomes unhealthy for our minds. So what are you feeding your mind? Are you researching stuff that might help you on your pathway to employment? Are you finding out about jobs in companies? Are you watching videos like this? Are you reading? Are you watching things on the TV or on the internet that help you learn and develop and grow and finding things that you're interested in? So while we're looking after our minds, our mental energy, our intellectual energy. Third thing I want you to think about is, are you looking after your hearts? Now, of course, when we think about hearts, we tend to think about the heart as a muscle and as keeping fit. And as I said earlier, it's really important that you're keeping fit and looking after your fitness and your well-being. But the other thing we think about when we think about our heart is our relationships. So are we staying in contact with people? Are we talking to people? Are we checking in with our friends? Are we making sure they're okay? And are we just sharing just stories and things with them? And the other thing is, sometimes you might feel cross, sometimes you might feel angry, you might feel disappointed, you might be frustrated, you might be sad, you might be happy. All of these things are perfectly okay, they're perfectly normal. And it's with our friends and our family that we help ourselves process and work through and understand those things. So are you telling people how you're feeling? And are you asking how they're feeling so that we can help each other? Because when we help each other in that space, that helps us thrive as well, because it helps us deal with some emotions that we might be having. So are you talking to your friends about how you're feeling? Are you talking to your family about how you're feeling and what's going on for you? And the fourth thing I want you to think about is what we call our soul. Now, our soul is that bit of our body that, what is it? We think it's in our tummy somewhere, but actually it's whenever you feel excited, whenever you feel nervous, whenever you feel really, really happy about something, or you feel joy. It's that sensation that we get. Sometimes it's the same when we feel nervous or anxious. That's also pit of our stomach type feelings. And it's okay to feel those things as well. And what we need to be doing is finding something each day, each week, that just fills us with joy. So what do you do that makes you happy? What do you do that brings you alive? What are your hopes for the future? What's your ambition for the future? What's your desire and your dream for the future? Because if you can keep reminding yourself of those and keep focusing on those things, that job that you're going to have in a few months and how that's going to be and the difference you're going to make and how that's going to allow you to be at your best, that's what helps us look after the heart and the mind and the body, because we're really motivated to be the best we can be, because we want to fulfill our dream and be ambitious. So they're the questions I want to leave you with to think about as we move forward on your journey, your pathway towards employment. Okay? Remember, to thrive, you need to be watering yourself, you need to be feeding yourself, and you need to be pruning yourself. So what are you doing to keep yourself fit and healthy? Have you got a good routine? What are you feeding your mind? Are you learning and developing and growing and investing some time in that? What are you doing in terms of your relationships? Are you making sure you're checking in with your friends and you're telling people how you feel? And are you in touch with your dream? Do you understand what it is you're ambitious for? And are you using that to motivate you to do everything else? Because that's the most important thing. Follow your dreams, follow your ambitions. Don't let anybody take them away from you or tell you that you can't pull them off. Be motivated by those, and then you will thrive in life. Thanks for listening. I really hope that's been helpful. If you've got any ideas for future videos or any questions, then please find us on Twitter and LinkedIn or Facebook using the hashtag #FindingYourFuture and tagging the DFN Foundation. Take care, go well, all the best.